Good morning all. So, again today we are starting our day learning a new thing in English. So, today we would be learning about conditional sentences. Yes, so when we are talking about conditional sentences express hypothetical situations, they express hypothetical situations and their consequences. So when we are talking about conditional sentences, these conditional sentences express hypothetical situations and the consequences of those situations in conditional sentences. Again, when we are talking in detail about this, they are used, there is the conditional sentences. These conditional sentences, they are used to express, yes, they are used to express that the action in the main sentence or in the main condition, the main clause, you can say, in the main clause can only take place if, again please remember, if a certain condition is fulfilled. So, when we are talking about these conditional sentences, fine, these conditional sentences, they are used to express that the action in the main clause, fine, the main clause, whatever action mentioned in the main clause can only take place if a certain condition is fulfilled. So, we will learn in detail about it. So, what are those conditions that need to fulfill, or that is how we call those conditional sentences. Why these sentences are specially called conditional sentence, today we will learn in detail about it, so that our understanding is more clear, that how, why a sentence is conditional sentence and what are the terms and conditions, how do we recognize them. Fine. So, in today's session we would be understanding this. So, what are those certain conditions which need to be fulfilled. Fine. Again, when we are looking into conditional sentences are also known as conditional clause or if clause. Please remember this, this is one easy way to remember or recognize how we could state a sentence as a conditional sentence. How? The conditional sentences are also known as conditional clause. Conditional sentence are also known as conditional clause, and mainly easy way to recognize is the if clause. We use if only in some conditional situations. So, when if a sentence is used with if, it means there is some condition, there is some catching point in this that we understand. So, how would we recognize a conditional sentence, and again in if with if even, how would we recognize it? Today we will be learning in detail and what are the terms and conditions, because again all sentences cannot be conditional. How would we recognize it? How would we make our concept clear on this? And what all are the points that we need to keep in mind and understand, so that there is no confusion. Fine. It is easy learning if we take it positively and understand it happily. Fine. So, again when we are looking into, let me give you an example for this for a better understanding. As we have said, if clause, the conditional clause and other things, let us understand it in a better manner with an example. So, it is okay, let me tell, if it rains. Again when we are saying if it rains, it is conditional, fine. So, we are talking about a condition we are talking about a condition if it rains. I am explaining this sentence, breaking it part by part so that you can understand the condition part. Fine. So, if it rains, the condition first we are keeping is if it rains. Fine. Second thing we would go is if it rains, then the picnic will be cancelled. See, in this sentence when we are understanding if it rains is condition. If it rains, if this condition happens, if it rains, then the picnic, so then in that situation, then the picnic will be cancelled. And what is the picnic will be cancelled? If it rains in that condition, the picnic will be cancelled. That is the consequences that we are having. The cancellation of picnic is again the consequences. If it rains, the condition, if the condition is if it rains, then what would happen? What are the consequences of that condition? So, first thing is we need to understand is when this is a conditional clause, because see it is giving a clause, if it rains then the picnic will be cancelled. So, again it is a clause that it is giving, that there is some conditions applied in it, that what would happen if this happens. So, that is how we recognize a conditional sentence, that it has its own consequences. Fine. So, first we understand this to make a concept clear. Next, when we are understanding, okay, the condition is subordinate clause and the consequences is the main clause. So, when we are looking into this sentence, the main clause is the picnic will be cancelled. The subordinate clause is if it rains, in which condition the picnic is going to get cancelled. So, mainly what is the condition? The condition is the picnic will be cancelled. Why? If it rains. Otherwise, how the routine is, it would remain the same. But again the picnic will be cancelled, the main clause is that, again the subordinate clause is if it rains. So, please understand, fine, the condition is subordinate clause. Ever we need to keep in mind the condition, whatever is the condition, like here is if it rains, fine, that is a subordinate clause. The main clause is the picnic will be cancelled, that is the main thing, the picnic will be cancelled. If this happens, this would mainly this would happen, fine. Then again remember one few more things. There are three kinds of condition sentence. Each, when we are talking about, there are three kinds of condition sentence, and again each has its own speciality, its own recognition, that why, how would we recognize it. So, there are three types again. So, fine, now let us understand, each comprising different pair of tenses. This one point we again need to remember, each comprising different pair of tenses. Fine, different pair of tenses. First, please remember this, that would again make it easier for you. And however, with each type there are certain variations which should also be kept in mind, because it is very important that we remember these 3 points, what is the difference in these 3 points. However, each type there are certain variations which should be kept in mind. So, now we would understand each type very well, so that a concept about conditional sentences, why they are conditional, fine, and what all are the things that we keep in mind, so that our concept about conditional sentences is more clear, fine. So, now when we are looking at the conditionals, there are conditional sentences, there are 3 kinds of conditional sentence. The condition sentence are of 3 types, fine, each comprising different pair of tenses, different pair. When we are telling different pair of tenses, please understand, when we are studying each type, please understand the pair 1, pair 2, fine, each type has different type of pairs. So, again 3 types, 3 different pairs. So, we need to understand each pair to understand each type of condition sentence, fine. So, and that keeping this in mind, it would help us in better understanding and it would clear our concept. Next, when we are going, let us first discuss type 1, fine. When we are talking about type 1 of conditional sentence, what do we remember? This is again this is called probable condition. So, 3 types that we have understood, fine. The first type is probable condition. So, now in probable condition, what are the pair of tenses used, what are the variations, what are the details that we get into further. So, let us understand, it is possible, first thing is we need to keep in mind for this type, and also very likely that the condition will be fulfilled, or let us say the verb in the if clause. We need to keep in mind is the verb in the if clause, not just the clause. The verb in the if clause is please remember, this is in the present tense. This is one important point that we remember. The verb in the main clause is in the future simple tense. Future simple tense. See, the first point we need to remember is each pair when we are talking of tenses. Fine. If it is possible and also very likely that the condition will be fulfilled, the verb in the if clause. If clause is the subordinate clause, the conditional clause, fine. The verb in the if clause is in the present tense. So, the if clause, fine, the subordinate clause, it should be in the present tense, and the verb in the main clause is in the future simple tense. So, the first pair when we are going is present tense and future simple tense. So, please remember this, fine. The subordinate clause is present tense and the main clause is future simple tense. This first point, so that we understand the first type probable condition well, fine. Then when we are looking into, let me give you some example for this, so that it gives our understanding a better this thing shape. Yes. Okay, if we play, will, if we play well, we will win. Okay. So, again we understand the if clause. If we play well, what is the condition? Well. If we play well, fine. If we play well in present, it is in the present tense, fine. We will win. So, in future, the simple future tense, the immediate future, the recent future, we will win. So, again we need to keep this in mind. If we play well, we will win. So, it is present tense and simple future tense. Again, let me give you one more example for better understanding, one or two more examples. Okay. If he runs, he will catch the train. See, again now understand, might be the train has started. In that condition, the present situation is he needs to run. He needs to run, that is the condition now. He will catch the train. Might be the train has started, just started. So, if he runs, present tense, he will catch the train, it is simple future tense, immediately future simple tense it is, fine. One more, let me give you a last example. Okay, if I find her address, I will send her a card. So, what is the condition? If I find her address, only if I find her address. So, present my this thing is if I find her address. So, what I will do? Immediately in the near future coming, I will send her a card. Again it is future simple tense, it is simple, nothing much about the far or this thing, no. It is simple future tense, fine. So, I hope with this 3 examples and the first point is that we would take care in this type is, yes, the if clause, fine. The first point is the condition sentence, fine, will be in present tense, and the main clause, the if clause is in present tense and the main clause is in future simple tense, fine. Next, again there are variations. See, like we say, every rule has its exceptions, but again there are some variations which again we need to remember, we need to understand, so that there is no confusion. So, let me tell you this point. Variations, when we are talking about, fine, when we are talking about the variations, it will happen in the main clause. The variations comes only in the main clause. Please remember this, so that there is no bigger confusion, fine. And condition sentence, if it comes in the condition clause, then naturally things will change. So, now it is the variation is only in the main clause. So, please remember, there are various types of variations. So, please understand each type in a better manner. A, let me take first one by one, so that it makes your understanding easy, because again in future tenses, this future simple tense, there are various variations that would come, and accordingly we need to understand in the main clause. So, now if plus simple present tense plus may possible. If it is possible, only then that may would come. May be possible, may not be possible. So, possibility again when it is coming, may. Fine. So, again the condition is may. Fine. In that case, let me give you one example. Let us talk each. Please remember each variations with examples I am giving you, so that you have a clear understanding. Fine. So, let me give you first example for the A1. If the fog gets thicker, if the fog gets thicker, it may, I may or might, might can be used. So, I may or might cancel my trip. So, again please understand in this again what it is coming. If the fog gets thicker, first is the condition sentence, this is the condition sentence, I may or might cancel my trip. Fine. So, again when we are saying here the variation is, there can be variations, we can use may, we can use might, and again may and might when we are talking they are not giving the surety. So, again that is the first variation that we would be having, and if and simple present tense plus may, possibility might, again possibility varies, the possibility varies, that is how it is variations that we are taking care of. The first is may, the possibility varies, I may not, fine, do not know what would happen, it is depending, it is not giving a surety. So, it is the possible this thing and possibility may vary. So, second point is B we will look into is if plus simple present. See, if plus simple present, why are we talking? We are talking because this clause will be in, yes, this clause will be in as we have studied. The last one what we have said, the if clause will be in present tense, and that is how when we are here we are talking is if plus simple present tense, fine, and if plus simple present tense. Now, when this B point it is if plus simple present plus can, again over here is ability or permission. So, mainly the variations can take place in ability and permission. So, simple when we are using if, simple present and a sentence that will have can, it will have again the variations in ability or permission. How? Let us understand with an example. See, again what is the condition? If you speak in Chinese, we do not know the language, if I do not know the language, if you speak in Chinese, I cannot understand. So, what will be the condition again? My ability is I will not be able to. So, I cannot understand you, fine. So, I cannot, you can, I am just for making you understand, I have written it, this thing is I cannot, or I can, you can even write it in this way, I can not understand you. So, please it is how we take it. So, if you speak Chinese, I can not understand you, fine. So, again this is the ability of a person that is trying to show, the variations could be in that, fine. Now, C point when we are looking at the next point, if plus simple present, plus again you are getting is may, but now it is for permission. So, this may is for permission. Earlier we had for possibility, because we use may for various reasons. So, again in a sentence when it is coming, the condition changes. So, the variations in the condition again, now the may would be used for permission. So, this is a variation that you would get. So, please understand it. Let me share an example. Okay, if your documents are in order, you may leave at once. So, here they are trying to say, they are giving a permission. If your documents are in order, you have given the documents, if they are properly in order, they are fine to go, then in that case you may leave at once, immediately you can leave. But again, what is the condition? If your documents are in order. First we need to understand this, and the same word may. Now the variation of that word is, it's for permission. Fine. So, if your documents are in order, fine, you may leave at once, but again terms and conditions apply, that if your documents are proper. So, again here the may is for permission. So, this is again a variation. We are not saying you can leave. Again may it is, because you may not. So, the permission may vary again. So, next when we are going to, there is another condition we need to understand, D. So, what is the next condition that we would be talking? If plus simple present plus must. Again the must is commanding. So, command this passes. So, again in this condition, how? Let us understand with an example. Fine. So, let us understand. If you want to lose weight, you must exercise. So, this again, this is a command. You want to lose weight, but sitting you will not be able to. So, it is a command passed. If you want to lose weight, fine. So, what is the condition? If you want to lose weight, you must exercise. It is a command that you must exercise, only then that you will be able to. So, again the must is used, that we have ordered a person that if you want to, please, it is not please, in fact, if you want to, you must. Again, if you want to lose weight, you must exercise, otherwise nothing would happen, sitting silently. Next, let me take another this. So, the other condition is if plus simple present plus. Now, we are talking about should. Again when we are using should, the variations of the condition could come as either it could be request or advise even. Even when we use should, even for advising. So, again let us understand this. Then let me give you a better example for better understanding. Okay. Again when we are looking over here, you should go for a walk if the rain stops. It is advising a person that you should go for a walk, might be the walk is needed for the person at that moment. So, again what is the conditional this thing? If the rain stops, you should go for a walk. But again, what is the conditional part? If the rain stops. So, please understand it. Fine. The variation is again should can be used for both the purpose, request and even for advice. Fine. So, again this variations can come. So, again we are trying to understand and learn. Now, the next is if plus simple present tense, fine, plus again simple present. Please understand this very well, because this is something coming different apart from the main condition. Fine. This is again a biggest variation. What is the first type that it speaks about when we are telling? Let us first look into type 1. What is it? If clause is in present tense and the verb of the main clause is in future simple. But now when we are looking at what is again the change that we are going to get? Simple present tense plus simple present tense. So, this is again some variation, an exception. So, let us understand it. Let me give you a better example. Okay, if you want to speak better, you should study phonetics. So, again when we are looking into, it is completely into simple present plus simple present. If you want to speak better, fine. The first conditional clause, fine, the if clause that we are talking about, the if clause, if you want to speak better, again immediately when we are looking into, you should study phonetics, even that is in simple present, you should study phonetics. So, you can start studying right now or you can study right now. So, again simple present plus simple present. So, I hope now the things are more clear about the conditional sentence. So, again there could be variations even in the last part. So, that is how it is given. Now, next when we are understanding, one thing that we need to understand, again taking to the last point, another thing we need to understand, taking all the variations, let us understand few things. The combination of two present tenses, mainly we need to understand this, is used to express automatic or habitual results. Please understand this, not in every condition that we would use, because we know the main this thing, present tense, fine, and future simple tense, but this is something exceptional, most variable thing. The variation is simple present and simple present. So, again when we are using instead of future simple tense, in which condition that we would use present tense, in which condition? The combination of two present tenses, in which condition it would happen, is used to express automatic and habitual results. Some people are habituated to few things, in that case, or when it is unexpected, automatically happened in such cases. So, please again let me share few examples, so that there should not be confusion. Let us learn more with the examples, so our understanding is more easy. Let me give you few examples. Okay, if you heat butter, it melts. See, when we are talking in this sentence, if you heat butter, see one thing we know, fine, this is automatic that we know, if we heat the butter automatically it will melt. So, this is a natural and a usual phenomena that we know, if we heat a butter it would get melted, it would melt. So, in such condition again two present tenses would come, but again it is a conditional sentence, fine. So, if you heat butter it melts, again the both present tenses that we are talking about. Next, when we look into, let me give another example. If people are tired, they generally take rest, or you can even say, you can use another example even, they take rest, or you can use go to bed. So, again in both the cases I have given so that two different sentences could be understood. If people get tired, fine, they generally take rest. This is again a present, this is a natural, this is commonly what happens, a natural phenomena. If a person is tired, would take rest, fine. Same way, if people are tired, they go to bed, either they sleep or take rest, fine. So, again not sleep, again even going to bed they take rest. So, again when we are talking, if people are tired, they go to bed or they generally take rest. Anyone can be used, they generally go to bed or they generally take rest, anything can be used, fine. Now, let me give you an other example. Okay. Okay, now let me take plants. Let me give a different example. Plants grow quickly if you water them. Again, it is a natural phenomena which it is a regular routine, fine. So, automatically or habitual, again this is an same thing, automatically and habitual happening result. Plant grow quickly, but again how? If you water them, if we regularly water, they will. So, again condition, how would they grow? It is like if you water them, if you do not water they will die. So, again conditional variations would come as if you plants even we can say plants dry or die if you do not water them. Again, so it is a conditional this thing and variations are even there. Let me give you a last example. Okay, if water boils, it changes into steam. So, this is again a natural phenomena, a habitual result, or automatically it happens that when you boil water, if water boils, it will change into steam. It will boil, the evaporation process starts and that is how it will change into steam, and we could see that, fine. So, these are the few examples, and this is one important point that we need to keep in mind, because this is something, the variation, this is one biggest variation apart from the main condition of if clause in present and the main clause in future simple tense, but this is some big variation, and that is how that you are talking. If like if the combination of two present tenses is used to express automatic or habitual results, which is routine, the routine which is set, which is a known fact. This is a habitual result, that this, if a butter is heated, it would melt, that is known, it is not going to remain solid, it is a habitual, it is a regular procedure, fine. So, I hope our understanding till this point is clear. Okay, now let me tell you another point, let me discuss another thing. Variations again in if clause. Till now we have understood the variations in the main clause. Now we are understanding the variation again, please, this is important so that there is no confusion. So, now let us understand the variation in if clause, fine. So, when we are understanding the variation in if clause, please now again we would understand there are different variations. A, if plus present continuous tense. So, now let us understand with this thing, the first condition is if plus present continuous tense. Otherwise, what is it when we are understanding? Fine. If clause is in present tense, it is in simple present, it is talking about only present tense. But now there is a catch when we are understanding if plus present continuous tense. Fine, the first variation in the if clause is if plus present continuous tense. Now let me give you an example for better understanding. If you are looking for your book, you will find it on the table. So again, this is the present condition that you are talking, present continuous, that you are continuously looking for. If you are looking for your book, so it is present continuous tense. If you are looking for your book, you will find it on the table. It is on the table, you will find it. So, in such conditions only that, present continuous conditions only that it would work. Fine, next let me tell you about the next condition. Okay, if plus present perfect tense. Fine, so again let me share an example. So this time we would be understanding is simple, instead of just a present tense, this is present perfect tense. We dealt with present continuous, now again it is present perfect tense. So again, in which conditions this would happen? What are the variations that you are going to get? Why does this condition come? Let us understand it. If the students have completed the assignment, I will correct them. I will correct them in class. So presently when the teacher is in the class, fine, it is present perfect tense. If the students have completed fine, the assignment, if they have completed it right now, fine, so it is present perfect tense, fine, I will correct them in the class, then she will correct it. But the first thing is, when we are looking at is this part, have correct completed. So present perfect tenses, that we would take care of. Let me even give you one more example, so that the understanding becomes more better. If they haven't seen the movie, I will bring them the DVD or a DVD. I will bring them a DVD. Fine. So now, see, let us understand it. If they haven't seen the movie, so what is the present continuous this thing? If they haven't seen the movie, fine. Again, in that condition, I will bring them a DVD. So please understand this. This is very important to understand, that yes, only in this variations, in this conditions, that it could happen. Fine. So I hope we have understood type 1, and I hope this understanding of type 1 helps us better. So now when we are proceeding further, let us go with type 2. Type 2. So when we are talking about type 2, it is improbable condition. So, this is improbable condition. What is improbable condition? Let me tell you this. If clause indicate or if clause indicates unreality or improbability, okay, when the past tense in the clause, the past tense in the if clause, let us tell the past tense in the if clause is not a true part. The verb in the if clause, please understand this, the verb in the if clause, fine, we need to remember the points, past tense, if clause, the verb in the if clause again is in the past tense and the main clause is the conditional sentence, is the conditional tense, like would plus infinitive, and even we can take it as either infinitive or, okay, let me again just work it out so that you can understand it in a better. Okay, the main clause in the condition sentence, fine, it should be would plus infinitive or oblique first form of the verb. It could be either of these, fine, in the main clause. So, now again we need to understand the type 2, it is improbable condition, again it is improbable. So, anything is possible, fine. If clause, when we are first talking about the if clause, indicates unreality, improbability. Mainly this if clause would indicate this when the past tense in the if clause, again the condition is the past tense in the if clause is not a true part, it is not a fact, it is not reality, it is not true. Only in that condition, fine. Then the verb in the if clause, again please take care, the verb in the if clause is in the past tense, fine. Please remember this is again two pair of tenses coming, fine. So, there should not be a confusion, this is type 2. So, the verb in the if clause is the past tense, fine. So, in this now again the type 2 difference is the verb in the if clause is past tense and the main clause, fine, is the conditional tense, again it is the conditional tense. There could be changes according to the condition. Would plus infinitive, fine, how it is, what changes, that is how they are saying conditional tenses. What is it? Would plus infinitive or the first form of the word, first form of the word, verb, first form of the verb. So, please understand the first form of the word, fine. So, okay, now let me say if example is if they were here, I would not speak to them, I would not speak to them. So, again please understand this, if they were here, fine, I would not speak to them. So, again the tenses difference you see. Fine, they were, again past tense. If they were here, I would not, would, fine, infinitive, fine, not speak to them. Infinitive and the first form of the verb, not speak to them. So, please understand this. Let me give one more example. Okay, if he had someone to accompany him, if he had someone to accompany him, he would play more often. So, again let us understand. If he had someone, so again had someone, fine, conditional this thing again, past tense part, fine, the if sentence, if he had someone, fine, to accompany, for what? So, to accompany him, if he had someone to accompany him. So, what is it? He would, fine, he would, again would and play more often. So, again it is if he had someone, he would have played more often, but bad luck. So, again this is the way that we explain it. So, I hope now this type 2 is more clear, fine, but again we need to take care of something. So, let me tell you one important point that we need to take care of. Type 2 conditional sentences, yes, type 2 conditional sentences are used when we do not expect the action in the if clause, fine, in the if clause to take place. So, please remember this very important point again, fine. The type 2 conditional in type 2 conditional sentence are used when we do not expect, fine, the action in the if clause to take place. Only if this did not happen that this has happened. So, again those conditional things if we are looking into. So, this point I hope it is clear. With all the other examples even that we have understood, fine, it goes this way. So, I hope we have understood till now about type 1, fine, mainly about, first let me talk, we have understood well about conditional sentence that we are learning today, fine. Then what do they express hypothetical situations and the consequences, that is one main thing that we would take care of about the conditional sentences, fine. And then the more important point, they are used to express that the action in the main clause can only take place if a certain condition is fulfilled. This is this thing I am repeating it so that all your other types when we are learning, type 1, type 2, type 3, as we have already learned, there are 3 types. So, when we are learning those types, our main point is very clear that they are used to express, fine, the conditional sentences, they are used to express that the action in the main clause can only take place, fine, can only take place if certain condition is fulfilled, otherwise it cannot. So, we need to mainly understand this point, fine. So, all our other understanding becomes more easier, and so now that we know There is type 1, type 2 and type 3. We have completed type 1. We are at present on type 2. We will proceed further in detail about the variations in fine. So, the variations we will understand in what are the various type of variations in the if clause, in the main clause in type 2. So, we will proceed further with it. For now, thank you and have a great day.